I have read many, many, many members of the military that were in Afghanistan, Iraq, or Kuwait, or any of the other areas, and helped them understand what it is they were going through in that experiential reality. I do an energy healing system that's similar to Reiki, though I teach Reiki also. I learn many other systems. And I bring those people back to the original energetic systems and help them understanding that their belief system is creating their focus, and their focus is creating their reality. I can create a temporary field of no time around people that have PTSD so that they can have the infinite expression to wipe out some of that energy, even though it may come back at point after point based on their cycles. Men have a menstrual cycle. So when it comes to men experiencing PTSD, I connect them to their sacred masculine again and help them balance their hormonal energies through energy techniques. When I have a patient on a table, I'm reconnecting their cellular memory to their awake memory and allowing a download process so that their awake memory isn't the data storage. You know, if you have a computer that has 6 gigs of RAM and you try to open up 9 gigs of memories always and you're never putting it back to memory, that's what PTSD is. Clearing the mind so that it goes back to cellular memory so it does not have emotional energy attached to it. That's one of the fundamental things that causes sickness. When you have a child that's growing up and the parents argue constantly, that child is a sponge for that energy. And we store that in our gut, in our intestinal tract. And I call that negative psychic data, and that attaches to the mucous membrane along your intestinal tract. And after a while, we eat food that is processed, that is done on purpose, so that negative psychic data is like having more RAM added to your gut so that you store more in your physical memory instead of transitioning it into your cellular memory. And when we start transitioning our mind's memories to cellular memory, we get back the emotional investment to those individual memories. As an example, the first person you break up with on a dating scenario has emotional attachments to it. If you've never learned the subtle energy techniques of removing the emotional energy from that breakup and it stays in your memory, it's always there, always affecting, always creating with you, creating through that negative pattern. When we learn the subtle energy technique of removing the energy from the experience and allowing it so subtle to our cellular memory, we still have the experience. And it is still an emotional experience, but does not have all of that massive expression the second it comes up.
Wow. I have so many questions. I can't believe that time is moving so quickly. You mentioned 2006, and that's just sort of a big year for me because that's when I got away from, the Mars recruitment. What's your thoughts about the Mars agenda? Because I just wanted to exercise my free will and stay with the Earth. I don't know even how to kind of interpret that whole thing sometimes. What are your thoughts about this sort of hidden space program stuff?
I have a very, very expansive view on it. And what we believe about the Mars program is just the tip of the iceberg, which you already know.
Right.
But the tip of the iceberg is Mars is another reality with another set of rules. And when they began the Mars experiment is when they began to understand, we have a reality society here. And there was a group of people that came together that said, we need to form a resistance here because our reality is just as controlled as Mars' reality. And then there was another group of people that wanted to take this experience and this knowledge and wisdom and then enforce their own creative reality rules on Mars and try to change Mars on a fundamental level. And it started a reality programming war. Okay? So when it comes to those various people that have come forward from the Mars program to talk about timeline traveling and jump gates, they're true. But at the same time, many of that stuff was created part of timeline vision and sight from multidimensional entities 30,000 or 100,000 years ago. So the Mars program was thought up and saw 400,000 years ago. So like quite literally, those beings that were part of it are beings being manipulated by timeline viewing entities who are manipulating our reality so that they can take domination and control and spread it through the reverse of the galactic ascension machine so they can literally take it over from within.
Wow.
I have a very different view on our space program. It is a reality piracy program, and there are very, very good people in it, but they are patriot-programmed people thinking they are doing it for the good of the United States and not for the good of unity, conscious freedom, and love.
Right.
I have spoken to many of them privately, Many of them have come on other shows that I've done. I won't name them directly. You can figure out who they are. And I've had private conversations exactly about the Patriot programming. At this point in time, there's over 38 million people that are involved in that industry, and they are going to need the most powerful healers from the other parts of the galaxy and here to come forward and help present to them the fundamental rules of this reality and how they've been exposed to the fundamental rules of other reality and how to separate it on a soul level. Otherwise, they will go through the separation and their soul will have to split to come to remedy and resolution for the forced experience they have. As multidimensional beings, we can split ourselves many times and experience many realities, but when a soul isn't ready and is forced into that scenario, it requires soul-based psychic surgery to help reconnect them so that part of that being can be on Mars and experience Mars' dream world. The other part of the being can be on Earth and experience Earth's dream world. And then Earth and Mars share a dream space because they're in the same solar system, so that the two beings can come in communal dream space and then reconnect their soul shards and determine what experience they want, even if they want both experiences to continue.
Right. Wow.
Andrew, what can people do as their awakening and their consciousness is expanding into the, shall we say, the truer nature of their reality, and they want their families and the people closest to them to join them in this part of their journey of conscious awareness. And what they find quite often is they're running into brick walls with that. What's your take on it, and what do you tell people who are dealing with this?
I get asked that exact same question by many people, and I'm glad you asked it. And the reason is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. When you find resistance, stop investing, because you are expending your energy onto a brick wall that it's not in its sovereign free will yet. And many of those people are going to need the experience of the events or series of events to come back to that sovereign free will. Lead by example. Stay connected to the earth. Heal yourself. Show your I am presence as leadership. And eventually that brightness of leadership of soul and love will help penetrate the facade of their belief structures. You know, you can share things on Facebook or other social media. You can share things on local walls, artist walls. You need to be creative and understand that when there's resistance, stop investing. If you're one of those people that does that all the time, you need to look at that why. We're all radio hosts here, and we're doing this because we love it. We are changing people because they choose to come to our soul energy, our soul vibration, the material we present. Whatever brings them here, it's here. And the expression is, learn who is resisting and who's not. And if you find yourself resisting because you want to enforce the rules onto other people, stop telling them. Stop talking to them. Confront yourself. Get out into nature and hike. Go fishing. Write a book. Do something other than trying to convert people. That's one of the biggest fundamental mistakes. You cannot convert people's reality. They do it on their own when they're ready.
Yes.
When you bring a message to someone who's not ready for it, they will not hear it, and in fact, they will skew it in such a way that will damn your own message.
Right. Wow. So just back to free will real quick. A lot of, I guess people feel, we're trapped in these physical bodies, and people feel their free will completely violated because they can't come and go from the physical like we used to. What happened exactly to rob us of that ability and free will?
We gave away our free will every time we believed in reincarnation. Reincarnation is a system that was brought here to trap us, quite literally. We are an incarnating species, and that's the fundamental rule of this reality, or this Earth's rule. We incarnate. We don't reincarnate. Okay? Mm-hmm. And each time you're born into a society that has exchange for value banking systems, each time you're born into a culture that says you can only marry one woman and not be divorced, each time you're born into a life of sex slavery, each time you're born into a life of pedophilia, each time you're born into a life of perfect happiness and goodness, but the people around you are sad, you gave away a small part of your full spirit sovereign free will. And over a series of thousands of lifetimes, your infinite free will became finite.
Mm-hmm.
And you reclaim it in the I am present self because we control reality. The facade does not. It instills belief systems into culture, and we're born into those cultures, and we can change those cultures anytime. Look at the 60s and the 70s.
So, Andrew, what is the extent of that statement, we control reality? Where does that hit a limit, or does it?
It doesn't hit a limit because it is the own individual's expression. Look at the contract removals I wrote. Somebody else can expand that to 50 pages and make it poetically powerful. I covered the main points so that people understand it is that expansive, the mining of your free will. Every time you vote, you are giving 4 years of your free will away for a presidency that never will represent you. Every time you pay your taxes, you're supporting a black market-based industry that you'll never know about. Every time you get your identity from your driver's license, you're giving the system the rule to use your free will in your name, and that's called tacit consent.
Wow, yeah.
Okay?
So what about these darker beings that traded in their DNA or changed their their biology to, in a sense, be the dominators and the controllers? Are they redeemable? Can they incarnate into higher races, or are they pretty much...
Absolutely. Absolutely. It will take a high level of compassion and forgiveness for them. And we are going to be their new teachers, and they are going to be our new teachers.
Yay!
Imagine a woman that's an off-world species that's very similar looking to us, that's 80,000 years old, that has no sex organs, and that they'll go through a DNA process that gets them back. They don't know how to be pregnant. Their entire existence is you create a kid through incubation and through cloning chambers. We're going to have to teach them how to be pregnant, how to have swollen ankles. Okay? We're going to have to teach them how to deal with a crying child. We have to teach them how to breastfeed. That's our sacred feminine reawakening with the love of our earth, saying we are a womb-based species. And the male species is going to have to help those scientist species reconnect to the spiritual side of them. And both men and women are going to suddenly change sexes as part of the experiential awakening. And there'll be even a third option created where it's not a unisex but a new expression. And many of these races are going to want to come here and live here, and they're not going to get the opportunity until we finish our healing, finish identifying our culture, learn our total history, and then those beings that are ready to go, and many, many, many beings are saying, I should have never been here, and they're right, will go, but they'll go through a migration process away. For every being that leaves this world, another being will be born in its place. That's the way the realities always work. And the system of domination control knows this. That's why it creates wars, so it can mass clean out one soul family group so they can bring in another soul family group that they know they can dominate and control better. When we begin removing many of these structures, those people that have been stuck here and haven't been allowed to graduate will go through the natural process of learning their subtle energy skills, which is how to unmanifest your physical body, turn it to energy form, going to the astral world, allowing yourself to eliminate your contracts with Earth, saying that I'm done with this experience, and choosing to have a life review. You don't have to. If you don't, you then become a free-roaming galactic consciousness explorer that can return to your original homeworld and share your entire experience of existence here on this world with the unity consciousness or non-unity consciousness of your homeworld. And then those beings who have been waiting for you to return can begin their migration process to other worlds with the experience you have shared with them.
Wow.
My goodness. Well, I've been sort of having an inner debate in my mind with myself about asking this next question, and but I'm going to go ahead and go for it. It's a little bit on the personal side, and I didn't ask for your permission to do this, but I'm just going to wing it here, Andrew. Okay?
Go ahead.
So I'm dealing with something that perhaps a lot of people are dealing with. My mother is 80 years old. She's been in the hospital now for 3 weeks. Everyone around me is telling me that I'm doing things really well. I'm it has created such heartache within me watching her decline like this that that it becomes very, very difficult, and it's now having an impact on me when I'm not even there at the hospital with her and stuff. What for people going through really trying times with family members or just aspects of their experience, what's your advice on how to rise up out of it? I feel like I'm just wallowing in my own sort of mud at the moment.
All right. I'll share something with you. I have a 96-year-old grandmother that has Alzheimer's. And 7 years ago, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and it was a rapid dissension from her mind. She was in Greece during World War II, and, the Nazis came in and killed the people in the village. My dad experienced the same thing in a different Greek village where they came in and lined everybody up and rolled them over with tanks. So her experience of going through Alzheimer's was reliving those old experiences, both good and bad. So her reality was changing rapidly, as well as being total moments of sobriety. I am Peggy. I'm your grandmother. I love you. In your experience, you're seeing this rapid decline, and her energy field is being shared with you so that you may see the love of her entropy, saying, I'm experiencing this reality. I may not be ready to go, but I'm holding on to you. And your energy field is absorbing everything. And you're not clearing your energy field so you can absorb more from her. So those times that you're away and you're in business and you're in your relationships, that energy field is still sharing with you, and you're being overwhelmed by that energy. So my advice for you is when you have an opportunity, go sit outside and meditate with your mother in mind and remember the good times, because you're sharing that with her. And you as a psychic and Laura as a psychic know you can communicate with her on the highest level. You can share with her your radial experience right now. Simply open the portal in your mind and say, Mom, this is what I'm doing to help change the world. And let that flow in union with your relationship with Laura. Allow it to flow from the fullest heart space. Say, Mom, this is me. You raised me. This is what I'm doing to help. And then when you physically go see her, hold her hand, talk to her, love her, make regular phone calls to her. And when the times that you're going to be away a long time, write something that is a contract invocation that says, Mom, I still love you. I still experience you. And say that to the universe, because you know your voice is heard on a higher level and on the 3D level. Allow the tears to flow. There was a situation when I was doing healing, and when my grandmother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I volunteered with the Alzheimer's Association of Ohio to teach energy healing skills to people that were caretakers of Alzheimer's patients. And I actually went to an Ursuline college ran by nuns, Ursuline nuns who were teaching energy healing, and we offered a special class for the people to come, and we taught Reiki to them. And afterwards, we had an open session where people can come from around the area and bring their mother or father with Alzheimer's in. And there was a lady, her name was Debbie. She was 25 years old when Alzheimer's set into her, and she had two children, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and she was 31 years old when she came. And this woman hadn't spoken many years, and she laid on the table, and her 2 daughters and her mother were next to her, and I put my hand on this woman's heart, and she started talking, saying, don't lay me on my side hurts. Mom, daughters, I love you. When I took my hand away, she went back. Okay? Know this, you can get the image of your mother in your mind and put your hand over that image and say, Mom, I love you, and express your total multidimensional experiential self to her and say, when you go, my love goes with you.
Aw. So beautiful. I mean, just so touching, that this exchange happened. And, I mean, this is, pretty much across the board because, so many people are having, physical difficulties, maybe even Morgellons or things that, come from, just the sensitivity to the toxins and the cancer, just all these different things. But on a soul level, it's not about the physical. I mean, as long as one's developing their consciousness and are on that path, we don't have to be so freaked out by everything on the physical level. Is that correct?
That's correct. It is the I am presence that can banish fear and create a field of love that goes beyond reality.
And souls will reunite. I mean, we'll see our loved ones after they transition.
Absolutely. And both you and Dr. Dream as psychics know, even when they pass on, they're still there. You just have to create the field that they communicate through.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that the listeners hear that. I definitely know this deep in my heart and feel it, and I'm aware of it, when I tap into it. But I know that it's so hard in the moment for people when they're struggling through the emotions. So thank you so much for how you worded that, and just this whole interview has just been so incredible. Can you let our listeners know where to find you, what your contact information is, or maybe some events you'll be doing soon and all that?
Sure. Actually, I'm going to be doing an event with you, Dr. Dream, Teal Scott, Lisa Renee, Tom Lesher, at the Return to Atlantis event in the Crystal Sands Beach at Lido Key, Florida, October 4th through the 6th. You can also get a hold of me through sovereignmedia.net. That's a new media organization I'm creating along with Larry Bazell to bring all of the consciousness explorers into a very sovereign state of expression. You can get a hold of me at andrewbartzis.com for updates, as well as I do a Galactic Historian show with Chris Hales on Blog Talk Network on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific. I offer a large variety of archives of well over 1,500 hours of archives of me doing live readings, as well as me doing specific Galactic Historian readings, Galactic Historian shows. I've just begun to release the 54 million year timeline history that I read in Mount Shasta. You can check that out on YouTube, as well as get all the links through sovereignmedia.net.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time to be our guest today, for sharing your, I was going to say knowledge and this and that, and I just want to cut to the chase, for sharing your heart and sharing your love, and for playing this role for all of us. And I'm really touched by the energetic of how selfless it is for you, and I honor that, and I honor what that means as an example to all of us. So, again, thank you so much for being our guest.
Yes, thank you so much, Andrew.
Yeah, and thank you for holding this space. Without you two holding this powerful space, I could not have gone into some of the transitional linguistics that are reaching out beyond time and space and helping people return to the consciousness explorers that they are.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you so much. And we'll be in touch soon. Can't wait to see you in Florida.
Oh, I know. I can't wait.
It'll be a blast.
It is.
All right. Have fun in Hawaii, and send our love to everyone there, and we'll be in touch with you soon.
All righty, guys. Take it easy. I love you both.
Okay. Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, that was really expansive, really remarkable. I mean, that was an incredible interview. What are your thoughts?
This was over the top for me. I'm always looking for more opportunities to tap into the empowered self that I came here to experience, and spending, an hour and 40 minutes just interacting with Andrew like that is like I have felt my empowered self like exponentially expand.
Yeah, definitely. I feel this was one of the quickest interviews. All of a sudden I look at the clock and I'm like, are you kidding me? I could just ask so many questions. I mean, what an archive of just galactic, like the Galactic Encyclopedia on steroids. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, this was it. I mean, he's doing some amazing, working of the energies and everything, and we really felt that. It'll be great to hear what other people have to say about it, and also what I love is like what you were just saying. I think it's going to translate well into an archive broadcast also, because this energy is, I mean, it's just there and it's present, and he's got one heck of a role that he has taken on to play in this lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is definitely one I'm going to listen to again and again. From the very beginning, it's just so obvious, just how these downloads come in and just the way he processes it and moves the information and, and just being so heart-centered at the same time. I was just so moved and just like goosebumps. I'm excited. I just can't wait for this conference. This is going to be incredible.
Yeah. And before we went to the interview, I was asking about practical suggestions for the new moon. And if you go to Andrew's site and the bottom link is spiritual contract removal, I would highly suggest that we all print this out and in our new moon ceremony on Thursday that we read this from the very core of our I am presence and put this out there, and let's start changing things now.
I fully agree.
I'm loving this.
And that's such a great idea to read that on a new moon. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, okay, we're lining up the heavy hitters here for this. Let's move right through this because we're about ready to go over upcoming events. We've got the Return to Atlantis conference, and this is, of course, with Andrew and Tom Lesher and the two of us and Teal Scott and Lisa Renee, and it's being put on by the N5D folks, Greg Prescott and Helene Lipson. This is going to be amazing. There's still a few opportunities to get tickets. There were only 90 tickets to start with, and there will be a live stream. It's October 4th through 6th. And then October 11th through 13 in Detroit, Michigan with Ethan Fox and the team, the gang at Awaken Empowered Expo. I'm just so excited about this. Detroit, Michigan, October 11th to 13. And then this one is really going to be great. Ascension Rising Conference, November 1 through 3. It's Laura, James Gilliland, myself, and so many others. Sean Keogh, Don Daniels, Amalia, Brian Kelly, Itasha, Sierra Neblian. I mean, this is going to be big. So we're excited about that, and that's in Sedona. And then it all leads to Star Knowledge Conference 2013, event of the year, 11/11 in Palm Springs. And so we're going to add some more events, but that's kind of the basis of what we have coming up.
Yep, very exciting. Well,
now,
thank you, everybody.
I just want to put one plug out there. If they haven't signed up for our newsletter yet, they can go to CosmicGaiaSophia.com or touroflove.com. See our events, sign up for the newsletter, find out about our sessions and everything that we're doing, and we'll be back next week.